Hey everybody, this is Brothario, a dude, used to be married, now divorced, single dad, and I am on a mission to do my part to help out all the other guys out there to not fall into the same traps that many of us have fallen into in the modern day and age. So here we are reacting to another video. This is apparently a video that was filmed on a potato. I haven't seen, resolution this bad since trying to watch some of that scrambled adult content on Cinemax at 12 in the morning when I was 13 or where the hell it was. But we're going to react to this here. It's Left All Behind, the Regret of Walking Away from Marriage and Success at Part 2. So let's see what she has to say.
Stayed. It wasn't that bad. Like, you made it 23 years. You made 26 years total. Your kids are like college and one's almost out of high school. Like, you made it.
Yeah, the reality of the situation is most of the time, and this is just, I'm not even going to talk about women in general here, but most of the time it seems to be human nature that when something bad happens, you kind of just want to focus on it and kind of amplify it or whatever. That just happens all the way around. Women, now talking about women, will focus on something bad and amplify it way worse than a guy will, or they will fabricate something bad that they perceive as bad out of thin air to justify whatever random feelings pop into their body at any given time. That's what happens. So, yeah, most of the time, it's not nearly as bad as you're thinking it is. So, try to look on the bright side of things, I guess.
Made it. Like, it didn't matter at this point. They can do their own separate life and all that. You made it.
Yeah, kids, for all the people that don't have kids out there, kids are very labor intensive at the beginning, and then the older they get, the less work it takes. Pretty much when they get around, excuse me, like 5, 6, 7 years old, when they get around that age, they're fairly independent. They'll want to come spend time with you and they'll ask you to do things and all that stuff, and you still got to make them meals and all that, which is great. Because that time doesn't last very long. The older they get, the less they want to do with you. So the story, as the saying goes, the days are long, but the years are short. So enjoy that time while you can. But yeah, it's when they're just little like sacks of meat when they first come out and they just are shitting all over the place and crying and throwing up. That's the hardest part. Once you get past that, when they get to like a young kid age, it's kind of fairly smooth sailing once they get the teenage years. I'm not there yet, but it's might just like they lock themselves in a room all the time. That's what I've kind of noticed. But yeah, it's when your kids are adults that they gotta have no bearing on your life anymore. Really, they're off doing their own thing, living their own life, going out into the world, just trying to make their way in it. And all you can do is just kind of sit back and worry and trying to guide them a little bit. But it's all of the potential frustration or stress on a marriage or whatever that can cause, but it can usually be gone at that point, unless you have a kid that just makes really, really bad decisions, and then they're a constant cause of stress. But other than that, yeah.
To the point where you guys were making so much money and you had big houses and you could do whatever you want and you can relax. Act like I'm terrified. I don't.
Okay. Big houses, do whatever you want, relax, all that stuff. Look, there's more to life than money and things, and I feel like this is a guy's perspective of this, because women constantly seem to be, they're always in search of the next best great thing. So it's just like they get an endorphin hit from buying something, and then once that wears off, they go off and try and buy something else. A big house, who cares? That's just more space you have to keep clean. It's more taxes you have to pay. It's more energy bills you have to pay, more higher water bill usage, all that stuff. Everyone thinks like having a castle is great, but I don't think it really is truly, unless you just have a bunch of servants that take care of everything for you. But yeah, I'd never understood the need to have a big house. Now a big garage, yeah, hell yeah. Give me like a 500 square foot house with a bed and a toilet, and like a tiny little 2-burner stove and a fridge and all that, and like a 10-car garage. I'd be happy, absolutely. But the big house itself, I don't ever see the need to it. Don't base your happiness on money. That's the worst possible thing you can do. Because here's the thing: unless you're like one of those people that make it super rich, like Elon Musk, and he didn't get rich by taking advantage of everybody, right? He just kept pushing, and he started all these multiple companies that employ lots of people and all that stuff. So he made a lot of money, and he just has to drive the heat going. I think it's because he's like super autistic as hell. That's just, he has something that he focused on, and that's what he focused on. But most of the time, people can get rich like that, but a lot of times, a lot of people will get rich by scamming and screwing other people over. But if you try to get rich the honest way, a lot of times you're just going to keep trying to chase inflation. You're going to keep working and working and working and working and working and making more and more and more. But the more and more you're making, you're not keeping up with the drop in the value of the money that you're trying to chase down. So do not in any way base your happiness on money and things. Look, you only have one life. If you want to believe in some sort of made up fairy tale religion shit, like after you die, your immortal soul is going to be jumping rope and running through flower fields or whatever. I don't know, whatever you want to believe. You can believe that all you want. But there's only one tangible, factual thing that we know, and that is that you have one life. You are born and you die, and that's it. Focus on enjoying the time you have in that one life. That's where you should be deriving your happiness from. Not from money, not from working, how you spend that time you have. And that could be, you could be volunteering. If you have kids, obviously spend time with your kids. Arts and crafts, woodworking, working on cars, doing whatever. It doesn't matter. You can get happiness doing things in service of yourself or other people in that time you have. But by attaching your happiness to money, you will never, ever truly be happy. And that goes for guys too. Women just are unable to be happy in general. But if a guy is only in pursuit of money, he'll never be able to be happy himself. So stop worrying about money. It's a construct. It's fake. It means nothing. It's not worth anything.
I have 401k. My counsel did not have my back, and there's just timelines.
Doesn't have a 401k. Council didn't have their back. Okay, so 401k is a retirement account that you put money in and you let it sit there, and suppose it's going to go off on the grow in the stock market, so that the more you put in, the more it compounds and the more money you have when you retire, blah, 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 blah. That's all well and good, assuming that the economy is great and the stock market isn't going to just tank. Think back to the Great Depression. All the money that was in the stock market, gone in an instant. Overnight, everyone lost all of their shit. So all these people are talking about, oh, 401k, my IRA, my retirement, all this, blah, 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 blah. You are under impression that that money you're putting away is still going to be there by the time you need it. It's all just fabricated numbers on screens. It means nothing. So yeah, you may not have a 401k and that doesn't feel good, but even having a 401k does not mean you are actually, in fact, safe. And as far as counsel not being on your side, I find that very hard to believe. You are the one hiring the counsel to work for you to get you the best outcome. And we all know that the system is stacked in the woman's favor. So if for whatever reason, this woman ended up with such a bad outcome, it's because it was proven that she didn't contribute anything and shouldn't have gotten anything in return. So it's not that counsel is on your side. It's the fact that you're as bad as possibly could be to not win in a rigged game. That's what that means.
And so you can't stop. And so it is what it is. And, you know, I'm 47 years old. It's not like.
Yep, 47. It's not like you're 25. Exactly. Look, women are like a piece of meat, for lack of a better term, that sits in a fridge. There's a shelf life to them, okay? The longer it lasts, the longer it goes on, the less appealing that meat is. And that's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Their prime time is right as soon as that meat is harvested, from their 18 to like upper 20s, and then it just starts to drop off from there. And that's just the reality situation. Don't care if you don't like it. It's biology. That's the way it is for everything. For every creature out there, you have a prime time, a prime segment in your life where you are at your utmost your utmost desirability and how you can capitalize on such. And the older you get, the worse it gets. Unless you're a guy. Guys, they tend to age like a bourbon. I don't drink wine, but I do drink bourbon, so I'm going to use a bourbon. And not all guys, but a lot of guys, the older they get, the more appealing they get to people. That's why there's always this stigma of, oh, the guy, this husband, he just divorced his wife to get with a younger chick. All right, first and foremost, all of those, 90% or whatever it is of divorces nowadays are initiated by the women. So even if back then, I still think women initiated most divorces, but yeah, it's like trading in a car. This car is getting all worn out. Why not get a newer car? That's the whole mindset behind that. And the thing is, the newer car would also seek out the older guy, because the older guy is seen to be more established, more reliable, more appealing, because women by their nature are hypergamous, which means they're always constantly looking for something better. So if a younger one who is in her prime, childbearing age years and all that, can see an older guy with what she thinks as security, of course she's going to choose that guy than the young party dude that's her age that doesn't have any semblance of a life started. So it's just the way it is. Get over it.
I'm 25. I'm healthy, kinda. I have an autoimmune disease, which means it's life-threatening for the rest of my life. Things can change.
Okay, that's a odd definition of healthy, but I guess here we go. Here's the point. She's looking on the bright side, like I mentioned earlier. So life is what you make it. Enjoy your autoimmune disease, whatever that may be.
But it's not like I'm an invalid and can't do anything for myself. But it is terrifying. Like, I could have stayed. I'm so mad that I think this way. I could have stayed. My life would have been so much easier. I should have stayed.
Yeah, she could have stayed and her life would have been easier. But the thing is, so here we are. So what is this woman actually regretting? Is she regretting hurting other people in her life? No. She's regretting the fact that she hurt her own prospects, because for whatever reason, she thought the grass was greener someplace else, and she found out in a hurry that it's not. So now she's wishing she had what she had previously, because she could not see how good she had it then. Look, guys will put up with a lot of shit, because we know that there are chances, the likelihood of having to put up with even more different types of shit if things go to change is way high. Like, we'll put up with a really shitty woman in our lives for a whole lot longer than honestly we should, merely for the fact to make sure that we don't get taken to the cleaners through the divorce process. That's what it is. And you can look at a marriage as you can as a paid off car. It is always going to be cheaper and easier to keep a paid off car on the road than it is to buy a new one and get into a new car payment. Same with your life. If you have already been with someone for, would you say 26 or 29 years or something like that, 23, I don't know. If you've already been with someone that long, that car is long since paid for. All you would have to do is a little bit of maintenance work from now and then to keep it running and on the road. Seems like she didn't want to do that. But now she gets to see that her choices, her decisions have consequences, and this is the outcome. But yeah. All right, guys, this is Brothario. That's all I got for today. Feel free to start up a conversation in the comments, like, subscribe, all that stuff, and I will check you later.
All right, check you later.